with an opening statement. We'll then open it up for questions.
Thank you. Obviously, really excited, like all the coaches, for the start of a new year. We had a very young team last year. Still have a lot of freshmen and sophomores this year, but with more experience. He talked about returning 4 starters, and I really don't know who our starters are going to be. I think it's a good thing for us. We have more depth. We have more experience. We have nobody in our junior class, so we have 4 seniors, 2 guys that have been with us for 4 years. Then we have 2 fifth-year guys that hopefully can bring us some stability and some experience and maturity, to balance out the youth that we have on our team. But after having a tough non-conference last year, I thought we battled to be able to tie at 8-10 in the best conference in America after going to 6 straight NCAA tournaments. But we had struggled so much in non-conference, at such a tough non-conference, that we just put ourselves in a bad position. So hoping to have more consistency earlier in the season this year, and just simply play better. Like I said, I'm excited for this team. I'm excited for our pieces. Now we're just going to have to put it together and be a good team.
Thanks, Coach. Let's go ahead and open it up to questions. Let's go on the left.
What's up, Bob Kravitz, Indianapolis Star. Matt, last year you talked about some of the lack of commitment from your guys about getting into the gym and working hard. Has that changed, and if so, how has it changed?
Yeah, I think the younger guys, the guys that started, Ronnie Johnson, Rayfield Davis, A.J. Hammonds, all of those guys have had a better summer. They know what to expect. Tyrone Johnson and Travis Carroll have done a good job being, leaders and being in the gym and being 12-month guys. We've had freshmen come in from day one and worked very hard, and they continue to spend a lot of time in the gym. And I think that's something that happens a lot, is when you have more time in the summer, you do put that extra time in and that extra effort. But then once school starts and you get a full academic load, you start with conditioning, you start with weights, you start with individual workouts. Now do you put in that kind of time? And since the start of school, we've been able to see that with guys coming in after study table, guys coming in at night. Some guys come in earlier in the morning. And I think you can see it in some of our numbers in shooting, in practices and in some scrimmages. Guys are being more consistent from the line. Guys are being more consistent from 3. I did feel that, our struggles last year to shoot the basketball, lied in our skill level at times, but also in our decision making. You have to be able to understand what a good shot is for you, and that might be different from one of your teammates. And kind of sometimes when ego, clashes with reality, it's hard for a guy to pass up a shot, so Purdue can get a better shot a little bit later in the shot clock. So there's a part of working on your game. There's a part of understanding who you are and just having discipline and taking a good shot.
Tom Oates, Wisconsin State Journal. Matt, there's a lot of good defensive teams in this league, as you know, including your own. Are the new rules going to penalize the good defensive teams that hang their hat on that?
Well, I think it's, and in theory, with talking with them, it's something they feel they're going to stay with. So if you're telling me the way the games are going to be called in exhibition games are going to be the way they call them in the Big Ten, then we're going to have a lot of good players watching basketball. I don't think that will sit with people in this room. I don't think it's going to sit with coaches and players across the country. It's definitely not going to sit with fans. I think there's a different way to increase scoring if that's what they're trying to do. The only thing I do as a coach is take what our officials coordinator tells us and adjust. And then within the course of a game, try to get your players to adjust. So, we're trying to be better in terms of position defense and keeping the ball in front of us without using our hands. But it'll be interesting to see what happens here. If the way the games are getting called in exhibition games are the way they're going to be called in non-conference, then the reaction from everybody.
Let's go last question on the left.
Coach Sean Morrison, Journal-Gazette. You had Bryson starting last night in the exhibition game, then also Kendall and Basil obviously contributing quite a bit.
Right.
Have you been at all surprised by how much these freshmen have been able to challenge the returners and work themselves into the rotations?
Not really. They've all three came in with great attitudes. They've all three played very hard. Basil Smotherman and Kendall Stevens, they could have started for us last night. They didn't. But they're in the mix in terms of, the conversation. I think that competition, that depth is really going to help us. Ronnie Johnson is our best quintessential point guard in terms of doing the things necessary to be a good point guard. Tyrone Johnson, I felt, deserved to start more than any other player that we had on our team. But with that being said, Bryson Scott led in competitive drills in practice. We accumulated 50 different competitive drills through our practices, and he had the best win-loss percentage in those. And so I told our guys, and I told him, and I told Ronnie that the last time I checked, we'd get gauged on winning. And I just felt that, he had earned that spot through his consistent, kind of competitive nature through practice. And so he reminds me a lot of Chris Kramer from that respect in terms of just how hard he plays and how he competes every day.
All right. Thank you, Coach. Good luck this year.